Speaker.
Members, this is a split call. 5 minutes, I call the Honourable Willie Jackson.
Mr Speaker, tuatahi tika me mihi kia koutou Tūwharetoa, tai mai nei tēnei wā e whakarangatira i a mātai. Kia koe e te rangatira i tahuri koe tō koro wai, rangatira tangi runga mātai i tēnei wā, ngā mihi kia koe. Mr Speaker, when I think of Tūwharetoa, I think of the Chief's father, Sir Hepi. In my view, he laid the groundwork. And we forget sometimes that it was your father who challenged the government, who was quite anti-government for a while, and I salute him for that, who challenged the process and brought Te Ao Māori together. We must never forget that. His legacy is one of challenge to the Crown. He followed in the footsteps of his tipuna, as you have, Tātumu. And I honour him, and I think he set the footprints for all of us. Mr Speaker, as some of the Tūwharetoa people will know, I have a bit of a connection with Tūwharetoa. Okay, it's not a connection that went for forever, but it was a connection. And a connection I was very proud of for a while. Whether Tūwharetoa was, I'm not sure. But it wasn't really my fault. I see... No, well, actually, it's Georgina Te Heohea's fault. Because she sung in the church, Mr Speaker, along with her husband, Timi Te Heohea, and obviously a little bit flat because things went off a few years later, didn't they, Georgie? But lovely to see her, via Georgie here, who carried on the legacy of her father-in-law, Mr Speaker, carried on the legacy. I salute Georgie. I salute what she did coming into the National Party. That must have been hard, Mr Speaker. That must have been tough. But I salute her. She went into that National Party, sir, and she carried on the challenge that her father-in-law laid down. And she was an advocate for kaupapa Māori, an advocate for tikanga Māori. And I just think it's wonderful seeing her today. But as I said, I had a bit of a long relationship there with Tūwharetoa, and I want to salute some of that whānau, sir, who I was part of for a long time, the Maniapoto whānau. A whānau that might not have been the tino rangatiratanga advocates, but a whānau who were the whakangaho advocates, without doubt. And so to that whānau who are not at the forefront, but are at the back doing the entertaining, very integral part of this kaupapa. I say to those, my former father-in-law, Nepia Maniapoto, to the great Huri Maniapoto, who married my auntie Bubs, Ngārimu from Ngāti Pro. I say to Manu, who's now gone, Manu Maniapoto, and to Jim Maniapoto, and to Uncle Tilly Maniapoto, we remember them well, don't we? We remember them well, and their contribution to the Tūwharetoa kaupapa. Because sometimes we forget these unsung heroes who might not be out the front, but like old Cedric up the back there. But if you muck around with anyone from Tūwharetoa, Cedric will deal with them. And my other cousin there, Auntie Bub's son. So, you know, I salute these people, these unsung heroes, who make a contribution, and we forget them sometimes because we do have our heroes and our tipuna who have played such made such a big contribution to these settlements, who Lewissa talked about in her beautiful kōrero, who Meka Whaitiri talked about, who others on the other side have talked about. There have been so many heroes in terms of Tūwharetoa, and of course John Bashara, a good friend of mine, and probably the grumpiest and most horrible chief executive who ever graced the Te Māngai Pāhoi. He's not even here today, you know, typical Bish. I salute them all. I think this is their legacy. The Maniapotos, the Te Heoheas, Georgina, who's been wonderful, you, Sir Timu, who's been along, Cedric, who's running the team at the back. I think you should be proud of this contribution and the legacy that was set down by the great Sir Hepi right at the start, who challenged us all and talked about tino rangatiratanga, talked about kotahitanga, talked about justice for our people. I mihi to him and I mihi to you all today. Tēnā no tātou katoa.
Mr Speaker,
I call Tamati coffee 5 minutes.
What an act to follow, Mr. Speaker.